All right. What's going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody? Let's play some music here. I forgot to plug this in the last one, so here we go. Hey. Make sure it's actually recording again. Hey.
Hello, everybody.
Friends, how are we? Welcome back. Kramer and Jess Uncensored. We're time of recording. This is the Tuesday after the 4th of July, so also known as the 5th.
Yes.
I think I'm so tired. I'm nauseous right now. Something's making me nauseous.
Today's the 6th, not the 5th.
So some know it's the 6th.
Maybe you ate something. Maybe you're sick.
I don't like.
Maybe
I
you
just
have
feel
food
like.
poisoning.
I don't know.
Maybe did you eat terribly over the weekend?
I did.
That's it. Your body's just like, what the fuck?
It's like why? It's like why are we going back to all this healthy food now?
No, that's how I felt this morning.
You
We literally made In-N-Out. When I say we, I mean Garage. Garage made In-N-Out burgers and animal style fries yesterday, and it was the best thing on the planet.
How comparable is it to actual In-N-Out?
To me, I'm like, that's for sure In-N-Out. Garage is super hard on himself, but the first time we made it, he was like, not quite, but yesterday he was like impressed with himself.
Right.
I was like, honestly, if you put me in a car, closed my eyes, blindfolded me, and took me through a drive-through and gave this to me and be like, I just went through a drive-through In-N-Out.
Really?
That's how I would feel. And the spread is the spread is on point.
You're talking about like the
sauce.
like the sauce and stuff?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
But like couldn't you tell like by the bun? Like the bun's from the grocery store. It's not like the actual In-N-Out bun. The fries aren't the same fry.
No, but like he like cut the potatoes, he like soaks them in
went
salt.
that much.
Like there's a video we watched this guy called his name is Josh Wiseman. Obsessed with him. And like step by step on how to make the bun taste like that. It's not just like straight out the bag and we're like, here we go. Like,
it's so funny. You California people are so funny. I never liked In-N-Out. Even when I ate, it's.
Were you vegan during that time?
No, even before. The first time I ever went was in Phoenix, and I was kind of like, because the problem is, y'all hype it up so much. Like you hype it up like it's going to be the best burger you ever ate in your life. At the end of the day, In-N-Out, and by the way, if you're listening in Maryland, you're like, what's all that? If you heard the hype about In-N-Out, you're not really missing a ton.
Are.
You're really not.
Don't speak to this guy who hasn't had meat in like 17 years.
At the end of the day,
you forgot what it tastes like.
It's still a fast food restaurant. It's fast food quality. It's good. Like I'd choose that over McDonald's for sure.
The fries are
good.
The fries are whatever.
Yeah, I like the fry. I think
the fries could be better.
It's all, to me, it's like, I don't know, because people just build it up like, oh my God, have you had In-N-Out? And I was like, okay, when I finally got to the West Coast, okay, let me try this. Let me sit down. Give it a shot. Sat down. It's fast food. It's good fast food, but it's fast food,
No, it's fantastic.
You're not going to get like a gourmet like burger. Okay, so apparently Miss Virginia does listen to this podcast. We talked this time last week about how deep dive do you do on someone that you're dating, right? And we were debating, like, I wonder if she actually listens to this podcast because I don't think that I would. I really don't think I would. Like, I don't think I would deep dive somebody that much. What I've realized too, like if I meet somebody not on dating sites, like if I meet them on Instagram, we'll say, I don't really dive that deep.
Are you lying?
I really don't. I really don't like go back and look like.
I don't believe you.
No, the thing is, I was talking to this friend over the weekend or this last weekend about like, kind of the conversation we had the other day. Like she'll go in and she'll like, because I'll go back some pictures, and like I'll see kind of like what's on Instagram, but I don't know that I would like go to an external source to get more information. But I've never dated someone that has a platform like this. Like, would I go and listen to every episode of everything they're doing?
Yes, you would.
At all times?
You would, because you want to know if they're talking about you. And that's something that you would do.
Okay. Maybe selfishly I might do it that way.
Yes.
But I think what really screwed me in this situation is putting our podcast on social media. I think that's where we got burned this time. Because I think she saw...
We always get burned.
Always. Somebody always tells somebody always shows something. So I think what happened was, because I purposely did not post it on my social media.
Oh, you didn't?
I just put a little thing that said, hey, we got a new episode up there if you want to go listen to it. I didn't put the whole teaser on there because I was like,
and
I don't know.
That's a fun fact for our listeners. If you noticed, especially when it comes to the podcast, because I've done that too. if Kramer will post the teaser, but I don't, that means there's some shit on there that I don't want certain people listening to. And if it happens vice versa, that means one of us is in the hot seat.
Yeah.
So you can always kind of look for those clues.
Yeah.
If we don't
You'll
repost
know.
a certain thing from the show page, that means we're just trying to stay low key
About
the shit that we said.
So just know,
Yeah.
like you see one, not the other, or if you just see me say there's a new episode up, there's probably
like,
something about me that I don't want somebody in our network
fully exposed, because obviously we put ourselves on the chopping block like this willingly, but in that sense, yes.
So, this was over the weekend, and I said I was just messing around with her because like at this point it's kind of hard because you only see somebody it's still new. Yeah, I only see her once a week, once every other week now. It's kind of like it's getting harder. My buddy came in town for the 4th, so it's getting trickier. I did end up seeing her yesterday, by the way, but it had been a week's time, and so I texted her and I said, tell me you miss me just a smidge.
You said that?
Yeah. Or am I just being a crazy person? She responds, oh, God. She responds, actually, why don't you tell me why you felt the need to tell the entire world we had a bad first kiss? She said, how about you process your thoughts, questions, doubt about me with me? And like I thought maybe she was kidding. I couldn't because this is like a hard.
I felt no kid there.
This is a hard conversation to have.
I felt no
yeah,
jest
I
there.
didn't. I couldn't tell. Now she has a way of being a little. And in case you're new to our podcast, I've been dating this girl from Virginia for about 6 weeks at this point, and it's tricky. It's tricky when you date and you bring it to the radio. So I since I wasn't sure her tone, I follow up with the old laugh cry emoji because I'm like, well, that'll at least like
that's disrespectful, but carry on.
Well, that'll at least like give me the idea of like where her head's at, right?
No.
So she then follows up with G's exclamation point head exploding emoji like side eye like you know like what
yeah.
How you describe that emoji?
Yeah, side eye roll.
Yeah. I said, sorry, I thought it was just kind of a funny topic for us to discuss, and obviously it was on me as well, not specifically you. And I said, did that bother you? She said, of course. I think we have different definitions of private lives. I was like, oh,
which is true.
God.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make that so public. That's why I don't make anything about you identifiable. This probably deserves more of a longer conversation about my job and boundaries that come with that. In the meantime, I'm sorry if I made you feel uncomfortable. Any questions you actually have, we can talk about this. 'Cause my buddy was coming in town, right? So I said, I hate this happened right before he got here, but I'll leave you alone to process it. I'm here if you want to talk. And she responds with, she said, I'm okay, but I know you do. I don't know you do what? I don't know. But and I'm not mad at you, but I still had to tell you that I didn't like that. Have a great time with your friend. You've been working too hard. It is what it is. Now, let me follow that up, Jessica, because last time we were talking about if a first kiss is bad, is it now that she said I don't like you talking about
let me just go ahead and stir up the
well,
pot.
I feel like if I said something bad, let me say something good. I saw her yesterday, had a second kiss, 1,000,000 times better. 1,000,000 times better. And we actually laughed about it afterwards. She's like, you can actually say this part on the podcast because like I can't be having a bad reputation about this kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm feeling more positive about it again. Got a little nervous there for a second.
Yeah.
So I don't know where this is going to go. Maybe a little bit of a detour over here.
Yeah.
So you seem uninterested.
I mean, I don't like. I feel like with those kinds of things, you just have to give them time.
Do you?
I wouldn't judge right off the bat right away.
Have you and Garage had issues with that? Run into anything where he's like, I didn't like you talking about that. Be careful.
I'm trying to think.
Because like,
no,
nothing's ever come up. Even like when you guys were brand new. Because you have to keep in mind, the reason that Garage Boy is Garage Boy. I mean, that was like a bold introduction of somebody. You know what I mean?
And honest, I am thankful that we don't have access to that audio anymore because it was pretty graphic. It was very graphic.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
And the only reason why, I mean, I don't regret it. I don't. and it's I got in trouble with my family, like we've talked about before. The only reason why I'm happy we don't have it is because I know you'd play that shit all the time, and I don't want the smoke. But
it's still up there, by the way. I'm sure it is.
It's somewhere
on the other podcast.
In the interweb.
I won't tell you how to get there, but
no, I don't want to listen to that.
It is there.
I haven't gotten in trouble from him, but there was one time where I was talking about something, and I knew that I had refrained a little bit, and he was like, "I appreciate you when you do talk about that kind of stuff. I appreciated what you did just to keep because now at that point his family is starting to kind of follow
Trickle
along.
Over.
So with that, still at the same time, it's my job, and we are who we are. But I am a little mindful of certain things than I would have before. You know what I mean? And I also was speaking in that sense. I didn't think I was going to talk to him ever again in my life.
So it's always terrible when you have a great story, but you can't quite tell it.
And you have to figure out.
You got to figure out
ways.
how to like maneuver around it, or like just roll. Like this one, I rolled the dice, and I was like, I mean, we've only been talking for a few weeks now. Like, I don't know that she actually comes through and listens to this, but anyway, I'm sure she's listening to this. So hello, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here.
But you don't want to be uncomfortable. I think that's why it's good that you, and I'm assuming whether you had the talk or you will have the talk.
No, we talked yesterday, and like I get it, but like I explained to her,
it's both sides that need to be understanding.
It's true. Yes.
It's both. It's equal on both.
Because there's nothing worse, and I mean this, there's nothing worse than a radio personality that doesn't share some wild and crazy ass stories. It's just boring. And like, so you kind of have to be with someone. And I think that's how I had to explain it to her is like,
well, no, you're making the decision on the kind of personality that you want to be and the kind of career that you want to have. There are radio personalities that don't share that part of their lives, and they don't have to.
They're boring. But they're not successful. The people that are most successful.
It's their choice to make that.
Yeah.
So when you want to share that part of your life, it's your right to do so.
Totally.
But also, when you do involve other people, there has to be a conversation and mutual understanding. And where I've shared this with you before, I gave him an out. I was like, this is what it is.
That's it.
You can dip, and I would totally understand. But if not, this is how it'll be moving forward, just so you know.
You want this or not? Because we ain't going to be no different. But it is tricky when like you're starting to get to know somebody.
And it's the early stages.
Early stages.
And you don't know if it's going to be something serious
Who
or
knows?
not.
And if it's a good story, if it's a good dating story. Anyway, so she does listen, so there'll be no more stories about her. No, I'm just kidding. There's a story I wanted to tell last week that I wanted to hear about because, and actually we can kind of catch it up with something that happened to you over the weekend because Jess kind of walked into was it a carjacking, I guess you would say?
Yeah, it was so sad. It on 4th of July, that morning, we were on our way to Columbia to go to the mall and just to kind of hang out over there for their 4th of July festivities. And it was early, probably like 10 or 11 a.m. And we wanted to stop at Starbucks. That's right across the street from my place. And I think I think we live in a safe area, you know. But I definitely don't pay attention as much as I should. Just even being by myself, you know, it doesn't really matter what area. I think you always have to be aware of your surroundings, especially when you're a woman by yourself. But that morning we go to park and we see someone run into Starbucks, and we could tell that there was some sort of commotion going on. People are starting to walk to there. And so we go inside and this woman is sobbing, and we overhear basically she got held up and someone stole her car and her phone and her purse and everything was in there and just drove off with her vehicle, and she was terrified. And so
but also think about that for a second. It's 11 o'clock. I mean,
it was early. This is the holiday
early,
on 4th
but not
of July.
super early. I mean, it's like if it was like 5 a.m.
Oh no, that's what I mean. No, this is a very it was a busy parking lot. There were people everywhere. People are in the little circle. There's a grocery store. Yeah. There's a yoga studio. There's like this is it's not a deserted in the middle of nowhere. You know, like this person did this crime in front of everybody and didn't care who saw at all, and which was terrifying too. And everyone in there was trying to, you know, who saw it, trying to help her out. You know, she was trying to get on the phone, talk to the police, talk to her mom. She didn't have anything on her, and it was terrifying. It was really, really sad that happened.
So crazy. Like you just, I mean, and we talked about in the air this morning. It's almost just like a reminder of like, you just never know, right? Like, just to be aware of your surroundings, kind of know what's going on. And I think probably as a woman, you have to think about it more, which I hate to say, but it's kind of true.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So with something we were talking about last week of the podcast, we didn't get a chance to get to, is Jess told me that twice in her life, and this is why I'm like, do I just live a lily white life, or is this normal? Is this a normal thing to go through? Twice in your life, you've had a gun pulled on you.
Yes, but it wasn't in. I mean, they were definitely scary, but it wasn't like what I saw on 4th of July. The times that one was kind of my fault. The first one was my fault for sure. I was with a group of friends, and we were TPing this house.
Okay.
And their next door neighbor, I guess they weren't home, but their next door neighbor came out with his gun.
That is so.
And was like, what are you guys doing? And what is it, like clicked it or something?
Yeah.
It was a shotgun. And
Holy hell.
So that.
How old are you?
I was maybe like 14 or 15.
That's so scary.
So, I mean, obviously it was just some innocence, like, fuckery. Like, we were just trying to TP a house. Like, it was this guy that I liked and I didn't like anymore, and we were just trying to TP his house, whatever.
So let me tell you the equivalent of what happens in my neighborhood, okay? Because one time we did the old ding dong ditch, okay? The old ring and run, if you will.
Yeah.
And we went up and rang the doorbell, and the guy, what happened? How did we get caught? Oh, we ran away, right? And I had rollerblades on. And so everybody like ran into the woods, but I couldn't, like, I'm on rollerblades. Can't run to the woods,
No.
you know? So I got in like almost like behind this person's house, and I was hiding there, and I thought I was safe. And this guy comes around the corner and was like, get out here. I was like, what? And I think he just ended up calling my parents. Yeah, he made me sit there like while I called my parents.
Yeah.
Which they didn't answer because they weren't home.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing. You pull a gun on me.
So that sucked. I mean, at the same time, obviously
What?
now being an adult, he didn't know who we were. He didn't know what we were doing. He probably just assumed that we were going to break into this house. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but still.
No, it was terrifying.
I mean, to pull a gun on anybody's, because that's the first time Jess got a gun pulled on.
That was first time terrifying.
Second time.
The second time, this sucked. We were going to a friend's house, and she kind of lived her house. It was it wasn't like she lived in the woods.
Yeah.
But it was definitely kind of in the country a little bit.
Yeah.
And so obviously you could tell if someone was there, they needed to be there for a reason, or they didn't belong there, you know? So it was very like easy to see. But it was like on a Friday night, and we were just going to her house, and we were pulling up slow because we didn't know where we were. It was the first time we were at her house. And someone walked up, again, like one of the neighbors, and was like, what are you guys doing here? And he had a gun.
Like, what in the world?
And that is like, I mean, my friends and I talked about that a lot. We weren't sure if there was a specific reason why he did that to us. There's like a lot of assumptions we made, and kind of trying to, like, why would he do that? Because it's not like there was no reason. There was absolutely no reason for that.
And you're how old again?
In high school.
God.
It was probably like our junior year at that point.
Who pulls a gun on a high school kid?
But it was just, I think maybe there were like 4 of us in the car, and we weren't like smoking, we weren't drinking, we weren't playing like, inappropriate music, like whatever. So that one pissed me off, because I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's scary, man.
Yeah, so that wasn't cool.
Just for so easy for someone just to pull a gun out on you.
Yeah.
You think that's typical? Whose life is more typical, you think, me or you? Do you think that most people have had a gun pulled on them at one point in their life, or you think they're like me, where like they just get their parents called, and that's the worst crime they've ever committed?
I don't know. I think it's probably more common than you think.
You think so?
Yeah.
If you want to start commenting, if you guys are on YouTube, good morning, by the way, to Ashley and Lexi. And if you don't know, we also put our show on YouTube, typically on a Wednesday, but today it's a Tuesday because of scheduling.
Surprise show.
Hello. I don't know if it's typical to get a gun pulled on you.
The second one really annoyed me, because it was so unnecessary.
I mean, they're both. I mean,
the first one was like, wasn't cool and was not okay and was terrifying. But like,
you were wildin'.
I definitely asked for it. You know what I mean?
You did, but like, no matter what.
Yeah.
And I don't know, because I don't own a gun. I'm not a gun owner, but I feel like you would use that like sparingly.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you didn't like live in the hood, did you? Like the hood.
No, did I live in the hood?
Yeah.
No. However, at like Stockton, it doesn't matter if you live in the hood or not. It's still a dangerous place.
Everything can be Lowkey hood.
Yeah. So it doesn't really matter at this point.
But think about it from your point of view now. Let's say that you lived, put yourself back in Stockton for me, even here, and some kids were outside. Would you like immediately pull a gun and then ask questions?
That's why, because it was at night. So I mean, I don't think he could tell what we were doing. right?
Yeah.
Or I think at that point, especially with that area,
That's
you know what
crazy
I
to me.
mean?
That's
But
crazy.
it wasn't fun.
If you want to comment too, if you're listening to the podcast version of the show, you can always call 855 Kramer Jess. 855 Kramer Jess. Is it typical to have a gun pulled on you, or am I just living this lily white life of duh? Like, of course, every kid gets a gun pulled on them. I don't know. I don't know which side it's on. You know, sometimes I look back on my childhood and like it's all I have. All I have is my perspective. You know, my life is my life, and it's the only perspective I have. And I'm like,
Yeah.
was I just like in a super sheltered? I live in a super safe neighborhood. You know, like worst thing that would happen would, I'm trying to think of like a crime that happened in the neighborhood that everybody would talked about. I don't remember now, but it was always just like nonsense, you know. Somebody
Yeah.
might steal something out of somebody's yard or something, and that'd be like the big crime of the day. But I don't remember a gun being pulled. So 855 Kramer Jess, you got a story about that, or you can comment on our YouTube show. And thanks for watching. I don't know the rules of. Jess is already mad about this. I don't know the rules of hooking up when it comes to staying at somebody else's house. And this can really be used in a pretty broad sense of a question, right? It doesn't have to be just a random hookup. It can be a couple hookup. It can be a, I don't know. That's probably the two. Hooking up at anyone's house, I feel like it's kind of weird.
Don't get off the rails here. You
Well,
need to tell your
no.
story. Don't try to.
No, I will. But here's the thing.
Because that's
I
not
don't
what we're
think,
focusing on here.
I don't think it's ever appropriate to hook up in somebody else's house, period.
Okay.
Like, I would feel weird. And I always wondered this, like, when my couple friends come to, like, stay, like, do they actually hook up in, like, the same bed, like my mom? Like, I don't know. It feels weird to me. The reason I bring this question up is because over the weekend, my buddy comes in town, right? And he is a single man, and he is single and ready to mingle, you may say. And it is mingling as such, right?
Yeah.
Just got on the dating apps not too long ago. Married for a long time, and a long relationship after that.
Yeah.
And so he's
been out in these streets.
but not for long, for like a month now. He's
No,
been
I
in
know.
the streets.
But in the past month, he has been
yes.
out in these streets
When he
on his own time. That's what he's been doing.
Yes, when he has had free time, yes, he has been out in the streets.
Which
you
is
might say.
which is totally
Totally fine.
Like, do
It's
your
what
thing.
you do, right? So when he was over at my place this weekend, it was Saturday night. He's like, "Hey, man, I matched with this girl on Tinder, whatever, doesn't matter."
Which, pause, I think it is completely unnecessary to be on dating apps when you are visiting a friend, specifically for a trip that you guys have been planning.
I agree. So, but still,
Disrespect number one.
I mean, to be on an app, fine. To like plan to meet up with somebody, would I do it? No. But that's what I'm trying to figure out is how normal is this, right?
it's disrespectful.
I agree.
I think
But
it's
is it
disrespectful.
normal? Is it as normal as getting a gun pulled on you? All you have is your perspective. I don't know how many people are like, okay, especially guys. Like how many, like when your bros come in town, and it doesn't even have to be like a Tinder thing. I mean, I think the Tinder thing is like the next level to it. But like, for example, let's just say everybody's out at a bar. One of these friends meets up with a girl and is like, let me bring her back to your house. Let me finish the story though. We'll come back to it. So I'm like, it's fine. Like, I don't mind if you go out if I'm, going to bed. It's no big deal. Like,
Yeah.
I still go to bed early every night. Like,
This was after your guys' day.
if we had a date, our bro day together, I was going to bed. He wants to go out. It's fine. I don't go out anymore. It's not for me.
Yeah, that's fine.
He wants to go out. It's fine.
That's fair.
1:37 in the morning, I get a text from him. He's like, "Hey, he said, I just said, I'm gonna bring," and I didn't get it. Obviously, I was asleep. But he said, I'm bringing her back to the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I woke up at like 5 the next morning. I roll over and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, not asking permission, not would you feel comfortable, but this
Yeah.
is what I'm doing.
Yeah, and that was that. And I didn't quite know the situation. Right, that's all I had was that text, and I'm like, "Is she still here?
Am
like,
I home?
am I gonna like run into her?" Like, then honestly, the first thing I thought was like, the house is a mess, and like, I don't want anyone to be in my house with this messy other than my best friend. Other than that, like, I get this really weird house complex. Like when someone's in my house, I always want it to be clean. That's the first thing I thought about was like, house is a wreck right now. So I went out and started like straightening up a little bit because I wasn't sure. And I was also hoping it would like wake them up
to
leave, right? Like here's like the pots, the pans, and then get the hell out of here, right? And so we had to leave at 8 that next morning. It was still early. I think I finally went out there about 6:30. We had to leave at 8 to go whitewater rafting. Okay.
Oh my God.
So at like 7:15, I was like, man, nobody's waking. Nobody's like the room's still shut up. Nobody's going to the bathroom, nothing. So I was like, what do you do? Like, do you go and knock on the door? Because that's like awkward and uncomfortable, right?
You didn't text him or anything?
I tried text. That's the first thing I did. I was like, let me text him and see. So I text him at 7:15. No response. And I'm like, we got literally like, it's like a little before 7:30. And I'm like, we got to go. Like, we have to be there. We already have a reservation. Like, we can't miss this, you know?
Yeah.
Like, typically another day would be no big deal, like whatever. But like, I'm like, we can't miss this. So what do I do now? So I call his phone. And I'm like, this is probably not going to work because who sleeps with their ringer on? But luckily he answered. He was like, oh no. He's like, I'm up. I'm like, okay, let's rise and shine. Let's get going. And then I'm like, oh God, what's going to happen? So the door swings open and he's there by himself. Apparently it had just been a quick rendezvous in and out of the house.
And then you don't bring it up. You guys just carry on your day.
No, we talked about the night. I just don't know the rules of engagement when it comes to someone staying at their house. I felt kind of weird because number one, I didn't like it. I felt this weird double-edged sword because this guy is pretty, what's the word? He's known to go from like, we've talked about this before. Like he goes from like long-term relationship to long-term relationship, and like that's all he really knows.
Right.
And so like I had to pep talk him for months to get out of his last relationship and to like just be single for a while. So I kind of felt like I was getting what the seed you sow, whatever that. Like I was reaping what I sowed. That's what I was trying to say. I told him to go do this, and he was basically doing what I told him to do. But like just not in my house is like the way I felt about it. Like I was so paranoid because if you don't know me, I'm such an introvert. I'm so weird about my space as it is anyway.
That why this was so bizarre to me, because this is someone who's known you for a very huge part of your life, and I think that was another thing that was very frustrating to me. Is I know everyone is cool. There's certain people that are going to be cool with certain things, and some people will not. And
right.
you are one of those people that I would never, ever, ever bring someone over.
Like how many times have you been to my house?
No, just like what, twice?
Twice, I think, 3 times. I'm just really weird about my space for a
Exactly.
lot of different reasons. But one, because I have host anxiety, because I hate hosting people, because I'm always like, "Are you good? Is everything good? Are you having a good time at my place?" I'm responsible for your feelings right now.
That's just something I would never do to you, because I know you as a person and what you are comfortable with. Which when you told me this the first time, I was just like, are you fucking serious? Your best friend did this shit to you, and he thought that you would be cool with it?
Well, explain to me girl code on this. 'Cause I don't know if guy code and girl code are going to be different over here. I think some bros may, because you got to keep in mind, been my best friend for 30 years, but we don't see each other a ton, right? Like we only see him a couple times a year.
Yeah, but
so,
he
like,
knows you.
Things change. And I don't know if most bros would be like, bruh, yeah, wait up, pew, pew, pew. Maybe other guys may feel that way. And part of me was kind of like, all right, you're doing the thing. But like, I don't know if most people would be upset if that happened in your house. So Jess, walk me through this girl code. Okay, let's turn it around. If it was one of your best friends and she had met a guy out. Because I guess you can take it 2 different things.
I do. I also don't like there has to be a bro code or a girl code. I think that this is just a matter of having respect for your friend in their home, period. But we can do this if you want. But
I think it's different. And like, I think the way that we look at situations, man and female, are completely different. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like hookups are almost like
the hooking up doesn't bother me.
Like they're like pound, fist pound, like good job, brother.
Girls feel that way about.
Do you?
Yes.
Because I feel like my girlfriends wouldn't share a story with me like that as fast as my guy friends would.
Maybe not to you personally, but with their girlfriends, yes.
Okay.
Like one of my friends is recently single and she's out here doing her thing, and like I am her number 1 fan.
Yeah.
I'm her number 1 fan.
Yeah.
So let's make this my situation. We plan a trip for her to come visit me. I would not be okay. Okay, if we're going out and all that kind of stuff, that's fine. And if she meets a guy and she wants to go home with him, do your thing.
Yeah.
Totally support
So you're
it.
saying
if she is
you're
making
out,
if we're out, you
and
know what I mean?
and you meet somebody, this is unplanned. Unplanned.
Yeah.
Meet some dude at a bar when you guys are all hanging out.
Yeah, we're drinking, we're having a good time.
And she wants to go home with a dude.
She meets some guy, wants to go home with him, right?
You're cool.
Do your thing.
Okay.
You know, obviously, of course, like I'm crazy about that kind of stuff. So I'm like, turn on your location, give me your phone number, like give me like whatever, you know,
Right.
just make sure she's safe. But I would be like, go do your thing, have fun. Like, just check in with me at a certain time tomorrow just to make sure I know you're good. Or, like, you know, if something happens, call me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And obviously, it's not like she would go and stay the whole day with this person. You know, I feel
Right.
like especially when you're visiting someone, I think when it comes to that kind of stuff, again, I know you said it was okay that he had the app on and stuff and he went out. I think that's cool. I would be upset if it would have gotten in the way of your guys' plans, like your
Right.
reservation. I think that's super disrespectful and rude because this is something that you've been excited for and that you were planning. But if she were to meet somebody, I'm totally about that. But if she were to ask if I can bring this guy back to your house, I would say no.
Yeah, but I wasn't asked the question.
If she
right?
would have done that,
so I'm
if
saying
I would have
if
gone
she
home,
did it,
if I would have gone home and
Yeah.
I woke up and she texted me, "Hey, I brought this guy back to the house. He's sleeping over." I would have been so upset because I don't think that's okay to bring a complete stranger that I have not seen and I don't know into my home.
right?
And you're like, I just think that's completely disrespectful. And I would have woken up and I would have been like, you gotta go. I don't know who you are.
You throw your friend out of your house?
No, not her.
Oh, I was like, holy shit!
I would wake her up and
Yeah.
be like, you need to get this person
Now,
out of
by
my
the way,
house.
did I say she wasn't there? Yeah, I did say that, right? Like she wasn't actually there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
And I would have talked to her immediately. The following morning, I would have been like, hey, I get that you're living your life and I'm about that, but you cannot bring someone home. You cannot tell me that's what you're going to do. I would not be comfortable with that. And I would have handled it right then and there. And I feel like that's so important when it comes to things like this in your friendship, that it needs to be addressed in that moment instead of waiting and not knowing
I waited
what to do.
because I'm over here. I'm the friend that's like, you need to do this. You need to
And
do
you
this. You
can
need
be.
to do this.
And
And then
you
all of a sudden I'm like,
can.
I don't think you should do it that much. I don't really know.
That's
and I
not
don't
what
know.
it is,
and I
though.
don't know that if most people would have felt that comfortable with it. That may just be a normal thing. Like when you're hanging out with your friends, I don't know. I don't know if that's like a normal to be expected thing that like when your friends go out, hang out, and like they're doing that.
Well, that's what I mean. I feel like there are some people, I'm sure that there's some people that wouldn't even care.
Right.
They're like, oh, sure, whatever. But that's when it comes down to knowing who your friend is and having respect for them as a person and being aware of who they are. All my friends know for sure that is not something I would be okay with. Like, I'm that girl. And they wouldn't do that to me.
Right.
And like for you, it is not even a question if you'd be okay with that. That's why I'm like, I don't care that you told him and that you've been supportive of that part of his life, because that is way different than having respect for your friend's house. And
Yeah.
that you need to separate that.
I think too, because we were kind of talking about, I think he also used his drunk brain on that one. Like, not the best decision to be making, obviously, when you're intoxicated,
Yeah.
friend. So I decided, I was like, I don't know.
So next
I feel
time-
weird bringing it up, but what I've already decided to do is be like, hey, just in general, like when we're gonna have bro time, let's have bro time.
Yeah.
Like let's fully focus. We only see each other a couple times a year. Like let's just
Yeah.
fully focus on me and you, and like the rest of the time, we'll focus on the other parts of our lives, no matter what it comes down to, right?
Exactly.
Like if it's work, if it's whatever, like we're gonna just not no girls.
That's
and-
why it's like you can't pause for like it was less than 3 days. You can't put a pause on that,
Yeah, he was ready to go.
Right.
He was ready to go wild over here, man. He what sucks, and this is something we can't relate to, is that he lives in a really small town, and so like he literally put me on his Bumble to see like what it's like to online date in a small town. No joke. There were 4 girls.
That we're single. Yeah.
4 girls. I was like, wow, that is a different world over there. Yeah. So I don't know how you feel about it. I don't know what the rules of engagement are when they come to people staying. I feel like there's some guys I know in my life that have been so proud of my friend, would have been like,
But just
yeah,
ask.
get it,
Just
But
ask.
I feel like too, I've just got to be like, no more, just no more. Even if we just brought like a dude over. Like, don't bring it by my house. Like, just don't bring it by my house.
But you don't know.
If Jess can only come twice, then nobody else can come. That's the end of it. So, all right, what do you think? We got a podcast episode here?
Yeah.
I think so. I'm feeling nauseous today, man. I don't know what the deal is. All right. Thank you so much for listening. A little loud there with the music. Thank you, by the way, for making us the number 5 podcast in the country again.
Yeah.
Podcast Magazine. Really cool. It's a cool squad we got going here. You ever want to vote for us, you can just go in the show notes. It's on there. But thank you for those that do it. Take time out of their day to do it. It's a cool little tribe we got going here. So thank you for that. Jess, you have a social media and a podcast.
Yes. Hit me up on IG or all social platforms at Just Do It, JESSDUITT. And I have my podcast, Lowkey. That'll drop when it drops.
When's the next episode, for real?
Honestly, you know what I've noticed is the more people that like almost ask me to do something, I don't want to.
Why?
Do
People,
it.
your people that care about you are asking for the product that you actually put out.
I honestly,
What is wrong? Are you having like writer's block right now?
no, I just don't. It's like I'll do it when I want to do it. It's my feelings. Like you can't make me do anything. It's mainly you. You're like, where's your podcast? Where's your podcast? Maybe me.
Setting an expectation. It's fine. Do what you will.
Yeah.
I have a daily podcast that I put out regularly. It's called Certified Mama's Boy.
Yes.
And you can go listen to that anywhere you get your podcast. My social media is That Guy Kramer. All of our YouTube fam, thanks so much for tuning in. And we'll see you next week. Oh, Jess already left.
No, my phone. My phone. Yeah, someone called me. Sorry, guys. My phone. Something happened on my phone. I was like, uh-oh.
We use Jess uses her phone as the camera in here.
Yeah.
So YouTube, Jess says bye. Okay. Love you guys. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.